Hi guys, what's up? Welcome to a new podcast. And in today's podcast, we're going to talk about my favorite movie series, Star Wars. So, the way we're gonna do this is, as you could probably hear, I have a little notebook here. Well, really all it says is talk about original trilogy, episode 4, episode 5, episode 6, talk about the prequel trilogy 1, 2, 3, talk about TV series Clone Wars 2003, Clone Wars 2008, Star Wars Rebels, and then talk about sequel trilogy episode 7, episode 8, then the spin-offs Rogue One and Solo. I forgot to include the Mandalorian, so I'm also going to talk about the Mandalorian, but that's probably at the end or during the TV series section. We'll see. I'm gonna try not swear in today's video, and I also have my headset on to hear if I'm saying anything weird. And I can see that there's a comment, but I can't see the comment. We'll see the comment later, I guess. Well, I'm just gonna begin because this is probably going to be the longest podcast ever that I'll make. So, oh, that's weird. It's weird to hear myself talk before I actually, yeah. It's weird to hear myself talk after I already said it. Sorry for being silent, I'm just listening. I just gotta go on with the stream. So, the original trilogy, the first ever Star Wars movie, episode 4, A New Hope. So, episode 4, A New Hope, it's the first ever Star Wars movie, and I fucking had... Oh, I swear. Damn it! I tried not to swear, I tried to make this family friendly, but I didn't. Well, poop. So I don't really have in saying when it was released, but for anyone who knows, it's when A New Hope was released. When A New Hope was released, Star Wars redefined movies and redefined green screen and practical effects and yada yada yada. But A New Hope, it's not my favorite of the movies. But we'll review A New Hope right now. So A New Hope is not my first Star Wars movie. My first Star Wars movie was The Phantom Menace. Yes, I went in chronological order, not in release order. But A New Hope, well, you first start off with the Tantive 4, and did that in one of Darth Vader's Star Destroyers chasing it. So you start off with an insane opening with a very nice text scroll, and after that, boom, the battle begins between the Tantive 4 and the Star Destroyer. They both fly through space, kind of towards Tatooine, and eventually we learn that Princess Leia is on that ship. Vader boards it, and we get this very awesome scene with all those guards standing at the door standing at one of those doors from the Tantive 4. Then the door blasts open and the stormtroopers come in, and it's one of my favorite scenes from that movie. I to be fair, I don't really like A New Hope. It's slow. And I guess you could also say that about Phantom Menace, but I actually really enjoyed the Phantom Menace. Like, it's second place in my favorite Star Wars movie. But yeah, it's one of the best openings I ever saw in a while. And after all that, we get this kind of like stealthy thing going on with Leia, and then Darth Vader steps into the room, taking over every villain ever in the history of movies. He is like one of the best villains ever created. Without a doubt. Well, Joker's also a really good villain, but we're talking about Star Wars. And Vader's actually maybe one of the most tragic villains ever. Because for people who don't know, I should have given a spoiler warning at the start of this. Don't know. I'll definitely say spoiler warning when I'm going to talk about The Mandalorian, but Darth Vader is to me, like legitimately to me, Darth Vader is the saddest villain ever, because big, huge Star Wars fans know that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker, father of Luke Skywalker, husband of Padme Amidala, and also father of Leia Organa, which is actually called Leia Skywalker, but you don't know that. So, sorry, I'm kind of pausing because I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to talk about. Oh yeah. So eventually, you see Darth Vader choking the counselor or something. I kind of forgot the guy's name, but you can see him choking, asking about the ambassador and where he is, and he knows that Leia is there with the Death Star plans, and he says to his troopers very angrily, "I want her alive," or something like. I kind of forgot the scene. I know, like I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I forget the original trilogy just a little bit. He like says, "I want her alive." So the stormtroopers eventually go to Leia. They find her. She kills the stormtrooper immediately. The stormtroopers start firing, and then she gets captured, of course. And she really rebels against Vader, which back then she didn't know was her father. Vader also did not know that because he was clouded by Emperor Palpatine. So eventually Leia gets captured. She gets brought back to the Death Star. But R2 and C-3PO escape with the Death Star plans. They go to Tatooine, and like Qui-Gon Jinn said in The Phantom Menace, nothing happens by accident. It is the will of the midichlorians, or something like that. I believe Anakin says it a little bit better in the Clone Wars TV series from 2008. A very wise Jedi once said, "Nothing happens by accident." Yeah, that's he legitimately just said nothing happens by accident. But as you all know, the midichlorian. I know people hate the midichlorians, but I kind of like the midichlorians. The midichlorians are a life form, and they are technically the gods in the Star Wars universe. So they kind of let everything happen, but you can also manipulate the midichlorians. Huge spoiler coming for Darth Vader comics. Emperor Palpatine created Anakin, and I'll talk about that a little bit later when we're going to review The Phantom Menace. But yeah, when we're on Tatooine, we see R2-D2 and C-3PO argue a bit, and it's pretty funny how they argue. I mean, you can't really hear a thing of R2-D2, all he says is beeps. But they argue and they both go their separate ways, but they both come back in the sandcrawler from the Jawas, because they've both been captured by the Jawas. Eventually they get sold to Luke Skywalker. And again, like Qui-Gon Jinn said, nothing happens by accident. And Luke goes eventually goes on. Yes, a little bit of a struggle with Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, but eventually he goes off to get power converted or something, or he rode off angry, pissed off. I can't quite. Yeah, you can really hear that. I don't really quite remember A New Hope, but it's a good movie. And then we come face to face with Tusken Raiders, and then Obi-Wan Kenobi, back then known as Ben Kenobi, comes into the scene with a famous "Hello there." And Alec Guinness, he did a really great job. He may have only been human for like one movie and then a ghost for all the other ones, but he was still in the movies as a ghost. But yeah, we find out that Ben Kenobi is actually called Obi-Wan Kenobi, and that R2 claims Obi-Wan to be R2's owner. Although that is not entirely true. Anakin was actually R2-D2's owner, but R2 doesn't really want to tell that. Like, R2 almost knows everything. R2 knows Anakin's fall to the dark side. R2 has almost seen everything. R2 really just... I bet R2 is quite depressed to know that his master failed. But he claims that Obi-Wan is his owner, so R2-D2 is taken to Obi-Wan's house, and in Obi-Wan's hut at Tatooine, he grabs Anakin's lightsaber and gives it to Luke. If you look at the scene, actually, you can see that Luke immediately points the lightsaber straight at his face, looking in it, which is pretty bad because, like, a lightsaber is one of the most dangerous weapons in the universe, especially if you combine it with Beskar armor. You're one of the dangerous men in the universe. Then, if you're also as strong as Starkiller in the Force, you're definitely strong. Like, just wield full Beskar armor, have the same Force abilities as Starkiller, maybe even stronger, and wield a lightsaber. Probably two double blade ones. Oof. I'm getting into much lore that isn't even canon. Beskar is canon, Starkiller ain't. Well, he was canon at first, but it became Legends because Disney took over, and I think George Lucas sold Stars to the devil, but whatever, I'm getting off topic. So, I know that Obi-Wan Kenobi was before the Empire. He's pre-Empire. Like he is before Battle of Yavin, because that's apparently how people say all that. So he's before Battle of Yavin, and he explains that a lightsaber is something from a more civilized age, which is true. It was not the Republic's age wasn't that civilized, especially in the lower streets of Coruscant and in the Outer Rim. But it was definitely more civilized. And eventually, Luke goes with C-3PO, R2-D2, and Obi-Wan Kenobi to Mos Eisley Space World after he finds his uncle and aunt dead, murdered by stormtroopers. As Obi-Wan Kenobi says, but a lot of people said this couldn't have been stormtroopers, must have been Tusken Raiders, because, well, you all know the stormtrooper beam. Stormtroopers can't aim, which, trust me, stormtroopers can aim. Alec Guinness, Obi-Wan Kenobi says, these stormtroopers are so precise, which a lot of people laugh about these days, and I really don't get it. Like, stormtroopers were pretty precise, but some people just have plot armor, y'all. So they go to Mos Eisley Spaceport after that, and there they go to the Mos Eisley Cantina, and they run into Han. Oh, and before they run into Han in the Mos Eisley Cantina, they run into a few stormtroopers, and Obi-Wan just Jedi mind tricks one of those feckers and just yeets on through. So we got a little scene where Buttmouth and Grumpy, yeah, I legitimately forgot the name, but you have those two kind of mocking and being angry at Luke, and Obi-Wan out of nowhere just yeets his lightsaber out of his pocket, cuts Buttmouth's arm off, and in that moment there's blood, and there isn't that much blood in Star Wars, but there are really some moments that there is. It's mostly in important moments that there's a quick glimpse of blood, which I like, but I really just want to see an R-rated Star Wars. Like, come on, man. So, whoa, we can't be having that, PlayStation. So eventually, they run into Han. Han goes all badass against Greedo, and this is an argument that has been going on for centuries. And in the original movie, the OG New Hope, you can see that Greedo shot first. Play the original scene in slow motion, as slow as you possibly can, and you'll be able to see Greedo shot first. I have spoken. That's a little Mandalorian reference. So eventually they run into Han, and if you listen carefully, what Obi-Wan says, he says that he's friends with Chewbacca, which is weird if you think about it, because he never really ran into Chewbacca in the prequels. Yoda did, but Obi-Wan never did. But apparently in the comics, Obi-Wan has run into Chewbacca. So I guess it's true. So they go to the Millennium Falcon, and it's actually a deleted scene where you can see Han Solo talking to Jabba the Hutt, but that's a deleted scene. So they go and escape with the Millennium Falcon, and they fly through space, and then Han says, that's a big moon, and then Obi-Wan says, that's the moon, that's a space station, and they run into the Death Star, the first Death Star, I might add. So they get pulled in by the Death Star's tractor beam, and they start just taking Stormtroopers' stuff, and they have Chewbacca captive. Well, this guy is Stormtroopers, and so Luke, Han, and Chewie walk through the Death Star and C-3PO and R2-D2, they also kind of just stealth through. But Obi-Wan really just sneaks through the Death Star, turns off the tractor beam and all that stuff. So Luke and Han find Leia. Leia tells Luke, aren't you a little short to be a Stormtrooper? And eventually they go off into the trash compactor, where there is a trash monster. And the walls are being closed in, and trash will be compressed and compacted soon. But R2-D2 and C-3PO turn it off, and they escape. So when they make their daring escape, Obi-Wan runs into Darth Vader, and they have this little conversation, and which is pretty funny, because back then Darth Vader, his first name was Darth and his last name was Vader in A New Hope, which you can actually quite hear when Alec Guinness says Darth instead of Vader. If you've never heard that, you should probably listen a few times to the fight between... You probably look at the fight between Vader and Obi-Wan, because you can actually hear Obi-Wan say Darth instead of Vader. Or Anakin, for that matter. But yeah, back then that wasn't really told, and Darth was Vader's or Anakin's front name as the Dark Lord of the Sith. So Obi-Wan dies, Luke screams "No!" in a very weird way that I always have to laugh about when I hear it. Mark Hamill, you're amazing. I really hate what they did to you in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. And that's Disney's fault, not yours. But, yeah. Obi-Wan dies, Luke screams no. And Leia, Luke, Han, Chewie, C-3PO and R2-D2 escape the Millennium Falcon. Then, they return all the way to Yavin 4. One of the many moons that orbit Yavin. Which is home to the Rebel base. Yavin 4 is home to the Rebel base, not Yavin 4. So at Yavin 4, at the Rebel base, they are having a little briefing, did this and that, yada yada, a lot of talking and stuff. It's just a little briefing, and then we get to the final climax of the movie. The Death Star Trench Run, one of the most amazing moments from the movie. So we watched the whole trench run, and I actually really loved the trench run. It's so well done. It's so good. Love it. So, of course, the rebels win, destroy the Death Star, kill millions, including Grand Moff Tarkin. And Vader is left in space, and Palpatine is disappointed in your failure, Anakin. So, yeah, that's... Oh, wait, that's not the end. They go back to Yavin 4. They have a little celebration. Chewie doesn't get a medal. Hashtag give Chewie a medal. And the movie ends. Then it's time for episode 5. The Empire Strikes Back. A movie that people praise to be the best Star Wars movie ever. I've mixed feelings about that. It's a good Star Wars movie, but to me it's not the best. But we'll go into that later. So, The Empire Strikes Back immediately starts in Hoth. With the Battle of Hoth. And we get this amazing Tauntaun scene and stuff like that. And the Tauntauns are cute. I'm just gonna say it. Tauntauns are cute. So Luke runs into the Wampa, but shit goes down. Luke gets captured by the Wampa, and then he eventually escapes by using the Force and using the lightsaber he got from Obi-Wan. And he gets rescued by Han, and they both sleep in the Tauntaun's belly. And of course Han says, "I thought they smelled worse from the outside." And oh wait, no, bad from the outside, but it smells worse than inside. You know the line. So they hide in a Tauntaun. They get back, yeet Luke in the back of the tank, wait for him to heal up, and then the AT-AT Walker assault happens, which is my favorite moment. It's one of my favorite moments from the movie because it's so awesome. So you got the... Hold on, getting interrupted by my clock. So you see all the snow speeders flying towards those AT-ATs, and it's a very cool sequence, and there are actually a few moments that I really like when the tow cable is put on on the legs of the wall, and then the snow speeder flies around it, and eventually Luke's snow speeder, which I think was the same snow speeder that tow cabled one of those AT-ATs down, but I'm not sure. But yeah, Luke's snow speeder gets taken down. Luke is grounded, literally. And he has to go. Hold on, I might have a drink. My voice is slowly dying. How long are we already in? I want to see. We're already 24 minutes in. Jesus. It's gonna be a lot longer, I swear. This is not really a review, it's more like telling what happens, but kind of at the beginning of every movie I'm saying how I like it. Sorry I had to drink. My voice was legitimately dying. As you can hear, my voice is a little bit lower now. Pardon. Because I drank and my voice isn't really dead anymore. But, like I was saying, Luke is now grounded and he has to walk over the icy plains and dodge every fire and every like laser fire and all the walkers. So eventually he gets below one walker, takes it down, but the shield generators are destroyed. So the rebels have no choice but to flee. And of course Darth Vader is there to help in the attack against the rebel scum. And they Luke, Chewie, Leia, R2-D2 and C-3PO go to the Millennium Falcon and escape. So they go through an asteroid field, yada yada yada, and then they land back in Yavin 4, I believe, where they have a little chit chat. And then Luke goes off to Dagobah to find Master Yoda, and Han, Leia, C-3PO, and Chewie go to Bespin, Cloud City. So when at Cloud City, Bespin, we meet Lando Calrissian, Billy D. Williams. Bespin is really a good moment, and Luke goes off to Dagobah, and he finds Master Yoda, which in the beginning looks like a crazy little green hermit that doesn't know what he's doing, that's lost his mind. But eventually we find out that it's a very wise person. Right. But yeah, we find Yoda and oh, hello Classy Star, how are you doing? Yeah, this is a live stream. So, sorry if any one of you hate me talking through the review, but as you can see, it's live. An edited version of this live stream will be coming soon, where I'll probably be putting in music, maybe even the scenes from the movie, if I'm even able to acquire them. Probably not, but I'll try, I promise. But, yeah. I don't know which section I want to do first. Do I want to do Dagobah first, or I want to do Bespin first? I'm gonna go to Dagobah first. So, eventually Yoda trains Luke in the ways of the Force. I'm kind of doing impressions during this, so during Luke's training, he has to go to the cave of something. I think it was called the Cave of Evil or something, or the Cave of Darkness, something down that line. So in there he goes and he finds Vader, and he and Darth Vader fights to the death, and he cuts off Vader's head, and as Vader's mask bursts open, you can see Luke Skywalker's face. What the hell? And that's a little hint towards Luke, and also a little foreshadowing of what's going to happen in the awesome scene that no one oh sorry, I just smacked the mic, that no one expected back then, where Vader says, "Luke, I am your father," and Luke screams, "No!" You will know the scene, but it's a little foreshadowing to that scene. So eventually, we all know that Luke's X-Wing kind of got fucked up by that monster in the lake. But eventually, He tries to lift it and lift it and lift it. It doesn't work. Nothing works. He gives up. And Yoda's like,
Judge me, do you size? Judge me by my size, do you?
and then he just lifts it up like it's nothing. And Luke gets in, thanks Yoda, says goodbye. R2-D2 gets in, and they fly away to Bespin. So now we're going to talk about Bespin. Whoa, I said that very fast. Now we're going to talk about Bespin, and it's during the movie, it's all kind of in between each other, but I kind of hacked it into 2 parts. So Han, like I said, Han and the gang, except Luke and R2, come face. Hold on, this man is ruining my shot. Don't look at that wandering traitor, please. I'm trying my best, okay? It's really hard enough to do this in Minecraft. Well, we're joined by that wandering traitor. He wants to hear the story as well. But they'll run into Lando Calrissian, and apparently Han and Lando are best pals, best buds, and apparently Han won the Millennium Falcon off of Lando, which we'll see in Solo. So Han and Lando have this very nice reunion, and they really just get at it, and then they find out it's a trap! And Vader is there, and they're betrayed by Lando. And Lando feels guilty. He actually didn't want to go through with it at first, but he did. So we get a very cool dinner scene where Han just shoots at Vader and he just deflects it with his hands like it's nothing. Oh, shooting lasers at me? Don't worry. False. Haha, I'm too powerful. Here, let me take your deal. 44. Ha, that's mine. Sit down. And he says very awesomely without care, we would be honored if you would join us. So they join dinner with Darth Vader, which I actually feel was a very tense scene with all those with one of the coolest bounty hunters ever, Boba Fett. But I like the Mandalorian a lot better. Yeah, we get that scene with Boba Fett and stuff, and Darth Vader, and they're just having dinner, talking about Lando says he's sorry and all that, and Han or Leia, I don't know which one, is very angry. And we get to the freezing carbonite scene, where Han, of course, says very lovingly to Leia, I love you, and Leia says, I know. Or the other way around. It was either Leia to Han or Han to Leia, but I don't quite remember. Han gets freezing in carbonite and taken by Boba Fett. So that's Han out of the picture. Then we get to the very awesome fight between Vader and Luke. So this fight is awesome. It's one of the coolest lightsaber battles people had seen back then, because in the original trilogy they only had Obi-Wan versus Vader. That was it. But here we have one in the cave and one in real. And eventually Vader chops off Luke's hand, and Luke walks away very slowly and goes down that pipe. And the biggest plot twist in all of movies happens, and Vader says, Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father, did he? Luke says, he told me enough. He told me you killed him. And Vader very awesomely says, no, I am your father. Which is one of the biggest plot, like, no joke, that was one of the biggest plot twists ever back then. None of those plot twists ever happened back then with movies. So people were surprised by this, but it was very awesome. So Luke eventually just says, "Oh yeah," and Vader says, "Join me and we can rule the galaxy as father and son." And Luke just says, "See ya!" Drops down, hangs again. Don't know how he was still able to hang after that fall, but he hangs on something outside of, on like the underbelly of Bespin. And Leia senses Luke. Yes, that's the first Force reference of Leia. And Leia says to Lando, "We have to go back. Luke is still there and he's alive." So they go back, save Luke, yeet him to the Millennium Falcon, go to a medical station. Luke gets a new hand. And I think it was there or a little bit later that Leia kisses Luke. Then Leia and Luke stand in front of the window with Chewie. Oh no, wait. With, not with Chewie, with, C-3PO and R2-D2. And that is the end of The Empire Strikes Back. A very controversial movie, actually, back then, because a lot of people weren't feeling well after that ending. A lot of people were disgusted. The villains won, and it's a very dark ending. But I probably bet that is why people praise this movie. So then it's time for Return of the Jedi. Yay! I love Return of the Jedi. I don't. I really didn't like this movie. I don't know why I didn't. I just didn't. I only like the Jabba sequence. Like, I only like the act with Jabba and the end game with Luke again against Vader, and then teaming up, Vader dying, and I like the Battle of Endor. But that's all I like of the movie. But we start the movie off with R2-D2 and C-3PO in Tatooine, walking up to Jabba's palace. There's one of those eye camera droids, which I never really understood how they worked back then. I kind of understand them a little bit better now that I'm older, but back then when I first watched Return of the Jedi, I did not understand it. Even funnier, when I watched my first ever Star Wars movie, The Phantom Menace, I did not understand a word of what they were saying, because back then I wasn't able to talk English, which probably weirds some of you, because most of you think I am English, but I'm not. I'm Dutch, but I'm very good at English. But yeah, eventually R2-D2 and C-3PO get captured, and Bib Fortuna actually is it's one of my favorite quotes from Bib Fortuna. He says to R2-D2 and C-3PO, "Oh wait, no, he does not. He says it to Luke." Oops. Bosch, aka Leia, comes in there with Lando, but she gets captured by Jabba. They found out. They were waiting for her, and she gets put in the slave costume. And that's when nerds lost their mind, and they're all sweating and jerking off to Leia in that little slave costume. Yeah, I definitely didn't make this family friendly anymore. Yay, demonetization, I love it. I don't, but I don't really care about demonetization, because I'll find a way to make money. I'm mostly just making YouTube videos as a hobby and for you guys, so you at least have something to look at. And yeah, eventually Luke gets in, and eventually Bib Fortuna says to Luke, "We wanna wanga." I never understood what I never knew what he meant with that. I never understood it, but it's funny. It's really funny. So Luke gets in, finds C-3PO. C-3PO is translating Jabba. And Luke is eventually thrown into the Rancor pit. Luke fights Rancor. Luke kills Rancor. Rancor Keeper cries. Luke saves Han with Leia. And then the Sarlacc sequence. Yay! So Sarlacc sequence, very well edited and created sequence. I still love it to this day. Boba Fett goes out like a bitch. Really hated how he went out. One of the coolest characters from the original trilogy, not quoting Vader. He goes off like a bitch. But, like, that's the end of Boba Fett for that. So, eventually Leia kills Jabba, and they defeat everyone there, and they escape. And they all go to Yavin 4 and then Endor, I believe. So at Endor, there's a lot of yabla dabla. Luke goes back to Dagobah, goes to Yoda, talks with him, and Obi-Wan. Yoda dies. Luke goes to Endor, turns himself in, accepts the fate, and Vader also says, "So you've accepted the truth." And Luke did accept the truth of Vader being his father. And a little nice reference for you. Vader is actually George Lucas actually was in the Netherlands once, and he heard someone say "father." Now, father in English, you kind of say it like Vader, is the Dutch word for father. You can also probably hear it. Vader, father. Father. So yeah, that's why he's called Darth Vader. Technically, he's called. I still don't really. I know this hurts as a Star Wars fan, but I'm still trying to figure out what Darth means. I've tried to find out on the internet, but I still have no idea what it means. So if anyone can tell me in the comments, thank you. I'm a huge Star Wars nerd, but when it comes to some stuff, I really don't know shit. But maybe that's also because I don't really read I have a lot of Star Wars comics, but I don't really read a lot of them. So I still don't really know what Darth means. But eventually he fights his daughter in the second Death Star. We also have the old Bill of Ender, where we can find some AT-STs in action. We already saw AT-STs at half, but they're only background characters mostly. But in Endor, they're really like main characters. And also a few AT-ATs making some ruckus. And the Battle of Endor is really nice. It's one of my favorite moments from the movie. And eventually the Battle of Endor ended. Then we get to Luke and Vader fighting. And eventually Luke gets punished for not joining the dark side of the Force. And he gets Force lightning by Emperor Palpatine. And Vader eventually comes to rescue, but too much Force lightning is hitting him and eventually dies. Luke cremates his body at Endor. The Rebels won, Death Star 2 is destroyed, and the Empire is gone, so is the Emperor. So, Empire defeated. Haha! It's time for the prequel trilogy! So, episode 1, The Phantom Menace, my second favorite Star Wars movie. I'm legitimately going to blast through these because this is getting too long. We're already 44 minutes in. So, episode 1, The Phantom Menace. We get to a separatist battle station where we find a Republic cruiser getting in, and we meet Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn are here for negotiations with the Trade Federation. Eventually, it appears to be a trap, and battle droids siege the waiting dinner conference thing room. And you actually can see how Jedi were in their prime before Order 66. So we got one of my favorite moments in the movie where they just wreck battle droids. And they try to get him to where the Nemodians are? I think they're Nemodians? Garmodians? Nermodians? Namodians? The Japanese sounding dudes. So yeah, we have Newt Gunray and a few other lads that don't really matter. There you have back then Chancellor Palpatine in his Darth Sidious disguise, and saying that he will make it legal. And eventually we find Darth Maul and a very used prequel line. This is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them. Yeah, the prequels have a lot of cheesy lines, especially Newt Gunray. They are still coming through. Is that legal? This is getting out of hand. No, there are 2. Yeah, Newt Gunray has a lot of memorable lines and memorable ones. So eventually, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Qui-Gon Jinn, they sneak on board 2 separate ships, or tanks it was, and they fly to Naboo, where they run in to Jar Jar. And if you listen very closly to what Qui-Gon says, he says, "I wasn't trying to save you," and the ability to speak doesn't make you smart. I always laugh when I hear this because it's so true. I kind of like Jar Jar, but I also kind of hate Jar Jar. It's mixed feelings. It really is mixed feelings for me. He's funny, but he's fucking annoying. But yeah, Jar Jar comes into Star Wars. So Jar Jar eventually takes them to his home, and Paul Snows goes at the Jedi, and eventually Qui-Gon kind of Jedi mind tricks Boss Nass, and he gives them a submarine, and we get to the bigger fish situation, which is actually pretty fun because there's always a bigger fish, like Qui-Gon said. And eventually they get to the surface of Naboo and they save Queen Amidala. And then they have to escape and all that shit happens, and they get attacked by the Trade Federation because they're trying to leave. R2-D2 is the only one that survives. And boom! R2-D2 is in the movie! Woo! We got an original trilogy character next to Obi-Wan into the movies. Applause. Okay, that out of the way. Tatooine. Time for Anakin. Yes! So, they don't really walk into Anakin immediately. They first walk into Sepulpa. And Anakin comes there for a little bit, just to tell Sepulpa to fuck off and mind his own business. And Qui-Gon goes to Watto, and Watto It was like, hey, you need something for your ship, and Qui-Gon keeps trying to mind trick that blue flying CGI fecker, but Watto's not weak-minded, but Qui-Gon has been playing Watto the whole time, and Watto didn't even know it. Haha. So eventually we got to the pod race, which is one of my favorite parts of the movie, but I want to talk about Anakin and Padme first. Their meeting. The first thing Anakin says when he sees Padme is, "Are you an angel?" And Padme goes like, "What?" And then he goes again like, "An angel." Or some deep space pilots talk about them. They're the most beautiful creatures in the universe. And they start talking, and you can already see that Anakin never really was attracted to Padme in a mental sense, but more in a physical sense. For Anakin, it was more physical appealing than mental appealing. Trust me, girls like it a lot more if you're mentally appealed to them. So if you like the way that they act and that they talk and how funny they are and stuff like that. Although that has nothing to do with this review. Moving on. So eventually Anakin shows C-3PO, human sidebook, yada yada yada. C-3PO meets R2. What a coincidence, ain't it? So, like I said in the prequel, Qui-Gon says nothing happens on accident. And it's true, the midichlorians make everything happen. Well, everything, because Palpatine manipulated the crap out of the midichlorians. But, yeah. Then we get to the pod race. We get to the dinner scene, and they talk about Anakin. They talk about stuff. Anakin finds out that Qui-Gon is a Jedi, and Anakin really sees Qui-Gon as a father. You always saw Obi-Wan more as a brother, and like Obi-Wan says in Revenge of the Sith, my favorite Star Wars movie, "You are my brother, Anakin. I loved you." Which is true, because Anakin and Obi-Wan were more like brothers to each other. They weren't really. It wasn't really like a father and son relation. It was more a brother relation. But Qui-Gon and Anakin felt that was more of a father and son relation. So we get to the pod race. My favorite moment next to Darth Maul. Darth Maul is my absolute favorite moment, but I love the pod race. It's CGI, but you got to admit, the pod race was so well done. It looked so awesome, and it was a race, but it was still Star Wars at that. So, aroo! So the pod race is eventually won by Anakin. Anakin wins, he gets freed of the slavery, but his mom can't come with him. So, Anakin goes with Qui-Gon, Padme, which, to be fair, I don't know what it was in the prequels, but I really think that Padme began more as like a sister or mother or like really good friend figure to Anakin, because like she says in the ship after that short little fight between Darth Maul, being interrupted by a old-timer grandfather clock. I was saying, after that brief little fight with Darth Maul, Padme goes to check on Anakin, and Anakin shows the necklace, and he tells Padme, "I made this for you. It's so that you'll remember me. It will bring you good fortune." And Padme says, and this is, here's why I think that the love between Anakin and Padme is wrong. Padme says, my caring free... I don't need this to remember you by. My caring will remain for you, always. And that's more a mother, friend, or sister would say. Yes, a lover could say that, but she said it more like a sister. So that's why I think the love between Anakin and Padme is wrong. To be fair, like, I know this sounds weird because Ahsoka is younger than Anakin, but if Padme never was with Anakin, I think the more logical choice for Anakin would be Ahsoka. I know it sounds weird, but like, I can't remember which Stars channel said it, but one of the Stars channels also explained why Ahsoka would be a better partner for Anakin. Because Padme was more physical attraction, but he had a really good bond with Ahsoka. And I bet that if Anakin wasn't with Padme, he maybe would have gone for Ahsoka, although he knew it was wrong. And yeah, I know Ahsoka is like supposed to be 14 or so in the show, and Anakin's like about 20 years old in Star Wars: The Clone Wars 2008. But who cares? So, yeah, eventually we get to Naboo, and we get through the whole plan, and we see that whole battle at Naboo between the Gungans and the battle droids, and the way to yada yada. So, a lot of boring stuff. Anakin in that BD-1 Naboo starfighter, one of my favorite ships in all Star Wars, destroys one of those bases, and the coolest scene and moments of that movie happens. The duel of the fates, the fight between Darth Maul, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Qui-Gon Jinn. The good guys being Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon, the bad guy being Darth Maul. So, it's one of the best fights I've ever seen in a Star Wars movie, like lightsaber, next to Revenge of the Sith, Battle of the Heroes. Yeah, I know almost every name. Qui-Gon dies. Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul. Well, kills Darth Maul because he returns in the Clone Wars and later in Solo. But for now, Darth Maul is believed to be dead, and again, important moment, so we see blood coming from Darth Maul's torso. And if it were R-rated, you'll probably see some intestine coming out of there. Aru. And then we get the end scene of the party, which a lot of people say it's a very happy song and a very happy moment in a saga. It ain't. It's actually one of the most darkest moments in all of Star Wars, next to what happened in The Empire Strikes Back. Here's why. It's a sped up version of the Emperor's theme, and instead of a man choir singing in very low tones, going like ooh, it's a boys choir that sings in very high tones, and it's much faster than the actual Emperor's theme. And at the end of the credits, you hear the Imperial March a tiny little bit, and you hear Darth Vader going. The end. So, The Phantom Menace actually has one of the darkest endings next to The Empire Strikes Back, and definitely next to Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith is the darkest ending, but you all know that. So that's time for Attack of the Clones, my second least. It's my least favorite Star Wars movie. I absolutely hate The Last Jedi, and after The Last Jedi comes Attack of the Clones. Like, Attack of the Jedi is like, if I would put it in like worst to best, the absolute worst movie would be The Last Jedi, and after that, Attack of the Clones. I really don't like Attack of the Clones. But yeah, it starts off pretty cool. Anakin and Obi-Wan kind of stick around with each other like brothers, and they arrive at Padme, and Anakin doesn't really know how to conceal his feelings for her. And Padme says, "Annie, my goodness, you've grown." And Anakin gets very weird and awkward. He says, "You've grown too. More beautiful, I meant." And he gets really creepy and weird. But that's Anakin. He is creepy and weird. Anakin is really just a nice guy. He's just trying to protect the people he loves and he cares about. Like Ahsoka said, "Don't turn off PlayStation." But yeah. You get to chase with Sam Wessel, and it's one of the coolest chases ever. And there's even a little Easter egg, like, and if you keep looking in like the bottom left corner, you can eventually see two or three like TIE fighters chasing an X-wing. And eventually they come to a bar, run after Anakin loses his lightsaber, and they go after Sam Wessel. She crashes. They go into a bar. Oh, hold on. Controller died. They go into a bar. Okay, my controller keeps dying, guys. Hold on. I really shouldn't have made this on in Minecraft, did I? I'm just gonna hold on. I'll be back in a second. I'll be back as quick as I can, I promise. I'm just gonna get my charger. It's all the way upstairs to my bedroom. I'll be back in a sec. As quick as possible. I promise. May this be the reason why I want to edit this video. I am so sorry for this. I'm going to fix this right away. And it's almost in a charger. And it is charging. I think. Hold on, let me check. No, wait, I won't. If it goes off, it goes off. Continuing from where I left off, Anakin and Obi-Wan go into that bar. After Sam Wessel, there's this junkie guy going to Obi-Wan, and he asks Obi-Wan if he, do you want some death sticks? And Obi-Wan, I don't want any death sticks. And he tells him something with Jedi mind trick, and that he has to rethink his life. He says, I don't wanna cell, and he just takes thing alive and stuff. And eventually, Anakin finds Sam Wessel. Change the altar, burning outside, and then she gets killed by Jango Fett. Now, Obi-Wan and Anakin then get separated. Anakin is accompanied with Padme, and Obi-Wan is going to one of his friends, and yes, Obi-Wan's bar friend says it's from says it's from Camino. So Obi-Wan asks clearance to go to Camino, and he's allowed. So in Camino, and some of the Cameronians and the Grand Army of the Republic, the clones, of course. So we run into the clones, and the clones. That's my best clone impression. I'll do a Captain Rex. Hold on, I'll do a clone impression, but it's Captain Rex. You call me Captain or Sir. That's all you're gonna get for now. And yeah. We are introduced to the clones. And we're also introduced to Jango Fett and Boba Fett. And I'm eating, hold on. And eventually Obi-Wan finds out that Jango Fett is a bounty hunter. Have a little chase, fight, and Jango Fett escapes. Obi-Wan goes after him because he put a tracker on the Slave One and get those very awesome bombs. You know, the ones during the asteroid field chase, ones that go. I absolutely love those bombs. But yeah, eventually Jango escapes, and Obi-Wan follows him to Geonosis. Once in the counter to Jango and gets captured. Now we're gonna go to the Anakin and Padme sequence. So it's a lot more character development and love development going on between them at that time. Eventually, they go to Tatooine to, you'll never believe it, Uncle Lars and Aunt Beru. I think it was them. But at least here's that Shmi has been captured by Tusken Raiders. He goes to the Tusken Raider camp, and Shmi dies right in his hands. So Anakin's mother's died in his hands, and he gets the first glimpse of the dark side of the Force. He slaughters every Tusken Raider, not just the men, but the women and the children too. And they're like animals, so he slaughtered them like animals. He hates them! A very cheesy meme line, which would actually make Padme probably think like, okay, I'll have something on my ship and just fly away, but no. We're like, that's hot. And stayed with him, and he married him at the end of the movie. Yeah. Anakin and Padme go to Geonosis, save Obi-Wan, go through the old droid factory, and then eventually they get captured as well. They go to the Geonosis arena, which is one of my favorite moments from the movie. We again have another moment that a lot of sweaty nerds can jerk off to, because the Nexus rips Padme's clothing. I legitimately just use the Dutch word. Clothing means clothes. And eventually, they escape, get some of the creatures under their control, but basically when he comes in, the Republic comes in, boom, they're freed. Then Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Padme go after Count Dooku. Padme falls out of the ship, and Anakin goes, "Put the ship down!" And Obi-Wan goes like, "Come to your senses, don't let your personal feelings get in the way." And they have a little arguing. And eventually Anakin's like, "Okay, fine." So they go to Dooku. Anakin very arrogantly immediately goes for Dooku because he had his mind on Padme a little too much. And he just wanted the fight to be over. So he goes head first to the Count. Count Dooku, aka Darth Tyrannus, Force lightnings Anakin away. Obi-Wan comes in, Obi-Wan gets taken out eventually as well. Obi-Wan yeets his lightsaber to Anakin, dual wielding lightsabers. Fights Count Dooku and he gets taken out as well and loses an arm. Then Mos Yoda comes in, has a little chit chat with Dooku, and then jumps all over the place like a crazy motherfucker while dueling the Count. The Count Dooku eventually makes a pillar fall. Pushes the pillar away, although he could have just yeeted that pillar into Count Dooku's ship, which he didn't, which is very stupid. Count Dooku's case. End of the movie. Oh no, wait. The wedding between Padme and Anakin. They kiss. Boom, end of the movie. Now, wait. Where's my notebook? Oh, here it is. Now it's time for my all-time favorite movie, Revenge of the Sith. But before I'm going to talk about Revenge of the Sith, I'm gonna ask you guys this. It's also going to be in a poll, but which Star Wars movie is your favorite? Is it Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, Episode 4, New Hope, Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back, Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, or is it Episode 7, The Force Awakens, Episode 8, The Lost Jedi, Episode 9, The Return of Skywalker, or something like that? Or is it one of the spin-offs, Rogue One or Solo? Tell me in the comments or at the poll. We're gonna have a poll to see which movie is your guys' favorite. I'll also be voting myself, and I'm definitely going to vote Revenge of the Sith. So, Revenge of the Sith, my favorite movie. I remember this from the back of my head. So, it starts off with a very awesome scene. Anakin and Obi-Wan fly through space, kind of above or underneath or behind Coruscant. And they fly over this Republic gunship straight into the Battle of Coruscant. which is a very awesome space battle, even including a sink. And yeah, it's a very awesome battle. And we can see a lot more of Anakin's piloting skills. And eventually we get to the scene where they get to General Grievous's and come to his ship, and the doors start closing, and they just barely make it into the ship. There are a lot of battle droids, kill them all. Talk battle plan, get into the lift, get all the way up, and eventually get to the Chancellor. Then Dooku interferes. They have a little fight. Obi-Wan gets taken down. Anakin has to finish it. Anakin finishes it. Cuts off both hands. And the Emperor comes out of Palpatine. He's like, "Good, Anakin, good. Kill him. Kill him now." Anakin's like, "I shouldn't do that. I'm not Jedi, he's an Emperor." And then eventually the Emperor comes out and says, "Do it." And yeet. Anakin cuts off the Count's head. And then Palpatine demands Anakin to leave Obi-Wan. Anakin so takes Obi-Wan. They go through the lift shaft. And they get captured by Grievous. And eventually they escape, yada yada. Grievous escapes. Well, at least, and they are at least still flying half a ship, Anakin. And they get another happy landing. So Obi-Wan shits out of there because he's not interested in politics and he finds it too scary. Although almost at the end of the movie he's there for democracy. Whatever. Anakin talks to Padme. Padme says she's pregnant. Anakin gets very happy. It's the happiest moment of his life, but they don't know how to deal with it. And then we get to Anakin having nightmares, I think. We get to something indeed. And then, well, we have the nightmare scene. And that ends. Anakin promises that he won't let that one become true. And eventually he does. We'll come back to that later. Palpatine wants Anakin to be his personal representative in the Jedi Council. And he clouds Anakin's mind with confusion and doubt in the Jedi Order. And from there, eventually Anakin is asked by the council to spy on the Chancellor. The Chancellor knows it because he's a Sith Lord, of course he fucking knows it. And he is allowed to sit in the council, but he is not granted the rank of Master. Like Mace Windu says, "You're around this council, but we do not grant you the rank of Master." And Anakin goes, what? It's unfair, blah, blah, blah. And Mace Windu is just like, take a seat, young Skywalker. Anakin eventually sits. And Obi-Wan looks disappointed at Anakin, like, why did you do that? So, now you get to the part where there's a little bit of talk between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then they eventually go each their own way, which is Anakin staying where he is, and Obi-Wan going to Utapau to chase after Grievous. And that goes on and on for quite a bit. And Anakin's part and all that is very boring. But yeah, Obi-Wan is now in Utapau. He talks with the people who gets that very cool little very cool lizard. It's all those lizards. This giant lizard. Grievous, hey, that wandering trader is back. And eventually he fights Grievous, and one of the memeiest lines from all the prequels comes in, and Obi-Wan Kenobi goes like, "Hello there," and Grievous is like, "General Kenobi." You all know the scene. So they fight. Obi-Wan wins with a very uncivilized weapon. And then we get that whole Anakin bullshit, blah blah. I am the Senate, you're now Darth Vader. Order 66. One of the darkest moments in all Star Wars. And then we get the best lightsaber fight ever in Star Wars. The Battle of the Heroes. Anakin versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. And it's one of my favorite moments in all Star Wars. It's my favorite moment from the movie, and it's my favorite moment in all Star Wars. And that fight is so long, and that talk between Anakin and Padme, eventually the first talk between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and then just that last talk of, "You're my brother, Anakin. I loved you," of course, before he has the high ground. "It's over, Anakin. I have the high ground." You don't know how it goes. And it just went on and on and on. It's a very sad scene, actually. Whenever I watch it now, I really do kind of cry whenever I see it, because it's really sad. They were brothers, and Obi-Wan really did love Anakin as a brother. But eventually, Anakin starts burning. Palpatine finds him. Obi-Wan takes Padme to the planet I forgot its name of. Gives birth to Luke and Leia. And they are sent to different planets. Leia sent to Alderaan. Luke is sent to Tatooine. And Anakin becomes Vader. Padme is dead. Funeral. Yidi yada lada blada. Padme is dead. No. Build off the Death Star. The end. And I'm gonna leave this episode here, because we are already 1 hour 23 minutes and a few seconds in. So I'm gonna leave this episode here. This is gonna be a two-parter. So this was episode 1. And a few days later, we'll be talking about Star Wars The Clone Wars 2003, Star Wars The Clone Wars 2008, Star Wars Rebels, The Mandalorian, Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens, Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi, Star Wars Story Rogue One, or Star Wars Story Solo. But I hope you all like today's podcast, and I will see you all in part 2 of today's podcast. Because it's just too long, and I've been rambling about... I can ramble about, like, hours about Star Wars, but this is getting too much for me as well. So, see you all later.